it would be wide to no limits and tall and whatever, we wouldn't be able to capture it because it's not finite, because it's not limited. I'm just throwing it to the air. Of course, it has to we have to describe it a little bit better. But the idea is, if something we hold, we capture things becomes a reality, it becomes in existence when we are able to capture them somehow. And even the most thinnest concept that we can grasp in our minds has to have form, something that we can hold by. And Yesod is above that. Yesod is infinite. So in other words, if the reality would come straight from Yesod, nothing would happen, like it wouldn't exist. That's why it has to go through Malchut. Now, when we say that our neshama is coming from Yesod, the way, or Malchut, the way it's connected with Yesod, we're saying this. We're saying that our neshama is defined. We have a neshama, and it's not the other person's neshama, and it's not a table, and it's not a body, it's a neshama, so it's defined. But essentially, it's not defined. Essentially, it's infinite. So it's the infinite, the ikar of it, the main thing about it that it's infinite. But it goes through the channel of Malchut. It comes through the channel of Malchut in order to become something. It has to be tangible. But essentially, it's infinite. So that's the message. So again, so that's chassidus. That's what chassidus explains. How chassidus explains Kabbalah in that way, in Moedei Ani. So again, let's put it to the test. So we wake up in the morning, and we think to ourselves, everything is so finite, right? Everything is so limited. Like I have to move my leg, and that will take me 5 seconds. Okay, and then I have to put a sock on that leg, and then a shoe on that leg. Everything is so limiting and so finite. And then I walk a long time, and I only reach the door of the room, you know. But then I remember that maybe my actions are finite, and maybe I'm finite, but essentially I'm infinite. And that is something that, you know, lights the candle inside, that really brings life into it, you know. And then I say Melech Chai V'Kayam, it means for me that yes, I come from Malchut, but I actually come from Yesod. Okay, that's generally speaking. Again, we can from brain and elaborate, but that's essentially the point was gotten. The point in a way of a point. So that's basically, we went through the 4 explanations of Pshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod, and we illuminated using chassidus. But all of that was just the way chassidus elevates the 4 explanations, the 4 levels. But essentially, chassidus is not just illuminating other things. Chassidus itself is something. What is the essence of chassidus? So let's look at what is the explanation that chassidus has to Moedei Ani, which is separate than those other explanations. That is unique to chassidus, and is the root for those other explanations that illuminates the lower explanations. So basically, it says in the Yom Yom that Moedei Ani comes to express the message of Moedei Ani is that it doesn't matter who we are or what we did or what we didn't do. You know, we can miss this and we can be not good at that. But our neshama is pure and is whole, and nothing can damage our neshama. That's the message of Moedei Ani. Now we can see it also.
We can what?
We can see it also from another angle. The Pshat says that the reason why we don't say the name of Hashem in Moediani is because we're not pure, we're impure. But the chassidus way is because we are super pure. Because the levels of names of Hashem are actually a lower level. But to turn to Hashem in a way that is above names, it's not using a name for Hashem, actually stands for a higher level, not a lower level.
It's not confining him. It's not defining.
Right. So when we're talking about, if we call Hashem in a certain name, for example, we call the name of Hashem of Kel. Kel, the name of Hashem Kel is the name of Chesed. So when we refer to Hashem and using the name Kel, what does it mean? It means that we ask Hashem, we tell Hashem, oh, you are so kind, you are so generous, please shed over me your kindness, right? That's what we mean when we say Kel, when we use those. But then Hashem says, okay, so I'm generous. What about you? Are you generous? Because then we go like this with Hashem. We want something from him, but it will be a reflection of us. So if we damaged in that way, in that aspect, but when we turn to Hashem in a way that is above those names, we just turn to Hashem. What do we say to Hashem? We say, forget everything. Don't look at anything. Because we don't look at anything about you. So then he doesn't look at anything about us. So we become like, we ascend above those limitations. And the point is that we have that ability. That's what is so amazing. We have that ability. You know how it is. Sometimes with a kid, sometimes your kid is doing, make problems to you. And you become like this with them. And a second later they come to you, oh, Abba, can you? But we're fighting, forget it. It's like, no, man. They have that ability. Why? Because they're your children. Okay? Of course you can continue to fight forever and continue with these little games, but it's either you or him that will say to each other, okay, forget it. It has to be, because you can't continue like this forever. Right? So a Jew, it doesn't matter what happened yesterday. You get up in the morning, you say Moediani. What is the Moediani for? What are you thinking? You're thanking for the fact that you lefanecha. You stand in front of Hashem. Always. You're always in front, and you're always inside of Hashem. You're always in Hashem's heart. The damages are external, are superficial. What is the most important, and what is really meaningful and will never change, is that we are like this with Hashem. And it's above everything. So that's very powerful, that's very encouraging. Each one of those things needs to have a special farbrengen, and to really instill it in us, and to review it and to talk about it, till we become us. Yeah. Absolutely. But just for the example, we see how chassidus, brings that new look and new life, new depth, and how everything becomes alive because of it. It comes from a whole different way, different level, and it revivals everything. It resurrects the dead. You can find a person that says, for example, and actually a reality that you can see a person that when he was a kid, he was told to say Moediani, and he did. And when he asked, why am I saying Moediani, they told him. And for a kid, okay, whatever, he has to say anyway, so he got it. But then he became an adult, and he got far away from his home. And this reason is not enough for him. So you know how life is, crazy. So he doesn't say Moediani anymore. Not because he's bad, not because he doesn't want. He has so many things in the mornings that he doesn't say anymore. Then you meet this person, and he happens to hear. Maybe he was in a class. Maybe he asked. Maybe you told him, "Do you say Moediani?" He says, "The truth is, I didn't say it for 5 years already." And you tell him the explanation of chassidus, and he says, "Wow, I never thought about it in that way. He never meant that depth for me." And then he reconsiders the whole. He says, "You know what? Maybe I'll say Moediani. So maybe you know what? I think I'm gonna give it a second chance." So that's like Trias Amazing. It's like resurrection of the dead. Moedeani died, and Chassidus brought it back to life. And the truth is, that's exactly what Chassidus come to bring. Chassidus is Tchias HaMesim. Chassidus resurrects the dead. Mamish. It brings a whole new dimension, which brings dead to life. So that's the essential union of Chassidus. That's what Chassidus really come to do. And it's not, this is just one example. We took Moedeani, the Torah is endless, life is endless. You have so many details. And we should ask ourselves, what Chassidus has to say about it. I want to know what Chassidus has to say. You hear an explanation, you say, wait a second, is this from Chassidus? You know? I don't know what Chassidus says, right? Because you ask questions, you have Rabbanim, you read the books, and you get an answer. And maybe you even get excited from that answer. It actually answers you. But still, you're saying, okay, it's a good answer. Nice. But is that from Chassidus? You know, I want to know everything. But it's very important to me to know what Chassidus says about it. Because Chassidus, you know, it's something else. And it's not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. We learn halacha, and we learn Gemara, and we learn everything. But Chassidus put everything in a whole new way, in such a way that really brings life to it, a different type of life.
You can say it's the soul.
It's the soul of the Torah. It's the soul of the world. It's the secrets of the secrets. It's the, you can have a reason to something that, sometimes someone is asking us, why do you do that? So we'll tell him, that's why I do it. But the truth is, there is a reason to the reason and a reason to the reason to the reason. And it's like pills. You peel it.
Layers.
It's layers. It could be that, you're going to ask yourself, why am I doing this and that? And you'll answer yourself. Okay, so it's enough to make you do it. You find a reason that will be enough to make you do it. So you do it now. And you're not looking for better reasons because you're doing it, so why are you touching it? I'm already doing it. But when you learn Chassidus, it gives a whole new life. So now you're doing it with life, and also it affects the way you do it, of course. Because if you do it that's what, it brings life to it. So you're doing it, that's what Chassidus, it brings life to the things that we do, to our lives. It brings life to our life. it's and also, like, for example, Simcha. If you take, why some, we all want to be the Simcha. For example. So you have people that they take drugs because they want to be the Simcha. But if you learn Chassidus, let's say, if you learn Chassidus and you learn what Simcha is, so you're saying, I don't touch drugs. Drugs is putting a pause on my life, and I can't be the Simcha the way Simcha really is, so I don't want drugs. Just to understand how Chassidus transforms our lives, basically. So we should ask, sometimes, everybody uses the word Simcha, for example. Everybody wants to be the Simcha. But Stalin, for example, had his way to make everybody Sameach. And it wasn't that bright. But sometimes you also have limited understanding to the concept of Simcha, and sometimes we think that Simcha is just, to do those things that we think that gives us Simcha, but if you learn what Chassidus explains and so on, so we have, so it's different. Everything is different. What is life according to Chassidus? What is Torah according to Chassidus? What is food according to Chassidus? Basically, you learn that you want to know the Chassidus view of everything because it's different, and that's what you want.